Good morning and welcome back to BIFA TV, your daily dose of industry information. Today we're joined once again by Ian Matheson for this week's What the Papers Say. So Ian, thank you so much for joining us this morning. How are you?
I'm not too bad, thank you, Brooke, and I hope you are the same.
Yep, all good, thank you. So what have we
Good.
got for this week's episode?
Well, Brooke, as we recorded this issue of the What the Papers Say,
Hmm.
all eyes will be on whether the ceasefire in Gaza will hold. Because,
Yep.
of course, if it does, the peace deal could result in the return of shipping to the Red Sea,
Mm.
although the Houthis have yet to comment and attacks have been ongoing.
Right.
Meanwhile, in Washington, the government shutdown goes on, and although there doesn't seem to be much direct impact on trade, some processes, such as the regulatory approval of shipments, may be delayed.
Right, okay, so there's still a lot of uncertainty going on then.
Yeah, but on a more certain note, do you remember the item from a couple of weeks ago about a new container shipping service between China and Europe that was going
Yep,
via the Arctic waters of the Northern Sea Route?
yep, I do indeed.
Well, as this episode was being filmed, the ship is on its final approaches to the port of Felixstowe, having left China less than 3 weeks ago.
Oh wow, so it's a lot quicker, like we said, than the original 50 days than it usually is.
Yeah, it certainly is. And you'll recall that I was a little skeptical about the whole venture when we mentioned it.
Yep, has this changed your mind?
Well, let's see if it becomes a regular service. China has said it pretty sort of would really like to open up year-round sailings on this route from 2030, but shipping services on the Northern Sea Route are seasonal, as you know,
Hmm.
and impeded by heavy ice for most of the year.
Hmm. Yep, well, we'll keep an eye on that going forward and see if, like you said, if it continues.
Mhm. And meanwhile, staying with container shipping, global container traffic continues to climb, with throughput figures for 2025 setting new records, surpassing earlier forecasts, according
Mhm.
to data from Container Trade Statistics. CTS said that between January and August, global container volumes reached 126.75 million TEU. That's a 4.4% increase compared to the same period in 2024.
Well, it sounds like some positive news for our members, especially those in the container shipping sector.
It does, yes, but
Hmm.
less positive was the news that Drewry's Composite World Container Index fell again last week.
Right? Yep. What's it down to now?
Well, it went down another 1% to US dollars 1,651 per 40-foot container, and that's the 17th consecutive weekly decline. And the index is now at its lowest level since January 2024.
Mhm. Well, hopefully, one of these weeks soon we can say that we're going in the opposite direction. But do we have anything for the air freight sector?
Yeah, I do, Brooke. De minimis was back in the headlines last week
Hmm.
at the FIATA World Congress. Air Forwarders Association Executive Director Brandon Freed told delegates that the association's members have reported higher duties, longer cycle times, and greater complexity in returns management since the de minimis thresholds ended
Hmm.
on August the 29th in the USA.
Hmm. And what else did he have to say?
Well, he said the industry has moved overnight from light touch clearance to full formal entry and
Hmm.
is seeing fewer parcels but larger, better documented shipments. Fraud has dropped, but working capital and compliance burdens have climbed sharply.
Yeah, it sounds like that realignment between the two, I mean, it's far from finished.
Oh, I think so, yeah. He also said forwarders must address duty cash flow early and strengthen visibility across purchase orders to manage the post de minimis environment
Hmm.
efficiently.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just another thing that to add to the list of uncertainties. I mean, it's pretty much all that we seem to talk about in these episodes.
It is, Brooke, yeah. And a recent report says that economic uncertainty and geopolitical instability have pushed optimism in the UK logistics sector to its lowest level in 14 years.
Right, okay. And who has said that report? Who's it come from?
It's a report produced by Analytica
Mhm.
called the Barclays BDO UK Logistics Confidence Index, and it assesses confidence and expectations in the industry. This year, the report has a score of only 40.4, and that's down from 57.6 in 2024, and the lowest recorded since the research began.
Right, so have they said kind of what they think has caused that decline?
Well, the report attributes it, Brooke, to higher costs, sluggish growth,
Mm.
cautious consumers, and geopolitical tensions. The report shows that nearly 7 in 10 logistics operators think current trading conditions are more difficult than last year, with half of the respondents expecting business conditions to remain tough in the next 12 months. It also says that there's a polarization between operators that are able to invest in future proofing themselves and a long tail of smaller firms focused on just getting by.
Mm. Yeah, of course. Well, it sounds like an interesting report, especially for our members to have a read of, so we'll put a link to that in the description.
Okay. Well, let's end the episode with a bit of good news, shall we?
Yeah, I think we should, yeah.
According to the World Trade Organization, global merchandise trade outpaced expectations in the first half of 2025.
Have they said why that is?
Well, the WTO says it was driven by increased spending on
Mhm.
AI related products and a surge in North American imports ahead of the tariff hikes that were brought in, and as well as strong trade amongst the rest of the world. And in response, the economists at the WTO have raised the 2025 merchandise trade growth forecast to 2.4%, which is up from a forecast of 0.9% in August.
Wow, it's very good news then.
It is, Brooke, but they also said that the 2026 projection has been lowered to 0.5% from 1.8%.
Yeah, I was going to say there always seems to be a but with these things. It's certainly one that we should watch for next year.
Absolutely.
Mhm. Right, well, thank you as always, Ian, for this roundup. I know that our members will find it of use.
Good. It's always a pleasure, Brooke, and I hope they do.
The links to all of the articles we have discussed today will be in the description for any of our members who want to have some further reading. That's all for today's edition of BIFA TV, your daily dose of industry information.